Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Carol here at Oak House Journals, and as you can see I've got another mini trifold journal to share with you, so let's get started. Usual format, 4 inches by 6 inches or 11 centimeters by 15 centimeters, and a single signature with a wraparound cover. A generous amount of this absolutely lovely, very soft pink chiffon sari silk. And if I can unravel her, you can see how much there is, and I can tell you this feels absolutely lovely to hold. It is really lovely. And I will put the link down below to the shop where I always now get my sari silk from, whether I get the plain white and dye it myself or whether I get a coloured sari silk. It always comes from this one particular shop called Perrin Yarns, but as I say, I'll put the link down below. The cover, same as always, it's a cradle out of a filing cabinet, a new one, and I've collaged on the top with vintage papers. So vintage French ledger here, a little bit of dictionary page at the bottom. This is a Janet Marsh image that I fussy cut quite roughly, really. It's not a detailed fussy cut, of some honeysuckle. I've put a little bit of lace on the spine this time for something slightly different. Vintage book page. This is bank receipts, some French dictionary page there, another Janet Marsh image, some German text there, and another Janet Marsh honeysuckle image there. So going inside, if I open her up for you, so 3 pockets inside, and in the first pocket I've put in a vintage, I'm off camera here, sorry about that, a vintage postcard with some beautiful lilac flowers, and that's it on the back. And I can't see a date on that, but it is an English postcard. And there's the images inside. A snippet here with some eyelash trim, and these are some silk petals that have been dyed, and they're backed onto paper. And you'll recognise this image from the Janet Marsh book. Luckily I've got a couple of her books, so I had enough to do all of the inside cover and also the front and back page to the signature, so it kind of flows through. Okay, so this is the first page here. I'm going to pull the camera down a little bit for you, and hopefully that will help you see what's going on. There we go. So there's this lovely lilac image here, and this is a small tuck spot all the way down this side with book page, and I've covered it with lace. There is a index card or library card in this pocket here with a little snippet of vintage lace and a tiny little jigsaw piece there, and a little bit of collaging on the back. On this side, a vintage tea card in a glassine pocket. It does come out, but behind it you've got another pocket, and there's just a little snippet there with a tiny little butterfly, row of butterflies, and some Avril twine, art twine or yarn through a hole at the top. And you'll recognise this if you've seen my previous videos. This is my vintage clob receipts. Then here we have again another paper clip, one of the Tim Holtz ones with some vintage lace, a journaling card here. Sorry, I'm all over the place tonight, aren't I? Journaling card here. Flip it over, and there's a double pocket on this side with a ticket inside it. So there's two little pockets there in the back. Just pop that back in there. This is a fussy cut image, and the same on the opposite side. This flips open like so. This is a vellum page, and then I've created a pocket down here with some lace, vellum behind it, clear vellum behind it. A couple of these little flowers here I've fussy cut and put some tiny little pearls in the centre. There's a little glassine envelope here with a little packer's receipt tucked away inside. If I can just open that up for you, you can see how small it is by this against my fingers. So that's the packing receipt that goes inside that little envelope, like so. And then these have just fallen out the envelope, so out of the pocket. So there's another ticket there, and there's a vintage Kodak slide. So that just tucks in that pocket like so. The ticket. A little bit of a tight fit, but that's going to ease over time. So, over the page I've done a little bit of collaging here with some vintage tickets, some Ranger mini ephemera, some book pages, ledger pages, and a fussy cut butterfly, and some dyed it's not muslin, it's almost like very open wheeze gauze. Not quite sure what you call that, to be honest. Up here I've got a corner tuck spot image of some snowdrops, and I've trimmed it with lace along the edge. And then this is the journaling card that I've made. Again, another image of snowdrops. I've stitched round all the pages as usual. Very little inking, but where I have inked, it's very light. A collaged back to this, so there's a stamped label with a sticker, and then there's a little hidden journaling spot, and I've just popped in there this little piece of vellum, and that goes up and underneath there. Over the page we have a top pocket. It's vellum and a little bit of fussy cutting along the edge of this image. And then here's the journaling card. Oops a daisy. Here's the journaling card, just plain on the back but stitched, as you can see. And then this is just a piece of decal edged card that I've stamped. And I know somebody's going to ask me, this is a Mackie stamp, and isn't it gorgeous? It's absolutely lovely, that. It's one of my favourites actually. So that just slides up and underneath there. There's a piece of lace down the spine there, just for interest. You could tuck something behind it, but I think it's probably going to be a little bit too loose. It's not really going to hold anything in place. So I have a side pocket here with another journaling card, and this is of some daffodils, and as you can see it's stitched round, and I've put a little tiny green pearl on a silver jump ring with some vintage lace, and it's just backed with botanical book pages. Over the page we have a little notebook which is tucked into a belly band. So the belly band is lace, there is some sari silk, a couple of tiny little tags here that I've cut out of German book page, some more Avril twine, and a vintage button. And then this is the little notebook, tiny little butterfly at the top there with a little pearl on it. And then just a few pages from a diary. It's trimmed on the back with more lace and sari silk, and that just slides in there. And then on this side, just a little bit of collaging in the corner. You'll recognise these little stamps. And then this flips open. There's a pocket along the bottom made from a layaway tag, and this is the top part of the tag, which I've put some stamped vellum on, a little bit of white sari silk stitched on, safety pin, and a little circle with a couple of lace flowers, and that just goes into that pocket there, and then some collaging down the side. And here this just opens out so that you've got more of a journaling spot and a little bit of layering with some book pages and some images there. Here we have a ticket down the side, and this is crinkled seam binding, and it's just knotted. To do a bow, unfortunately, would make it too bulky, and as you know, my journals have a tendency to become way too bulky. So this opens up like so, and then there's a little notebook here. This is a little fussy cut image of some ivy down in the bottom corner there. Hope you can pick that up. Okay, and it's part of an old holiday receipt that I have. More fussy cutting in this corner, a plain page there, and then in the back there's a little secret pocket here with, and I can open it up, an image there, just plain on the back, and a little fussy cut bee tucked away down in that bottom corner there. Just see her. So that just tucks in there like so. These fold down and it folds up like an envelope, and then all you need to do is just knot it loosely and it will stay in place. There we go, like so. Here, this is a side, get back in frame for you. This is a side tuck with an image here that's been stitched round, a couple of layers of lace, and a tiny, tiny little flower, which I've made from a couple of pieces of lace with a tiny little half pearl. And then tucked in it is one of these Observer book pages, but it's a double page, and I've just made it as a journaling spot. And that's what the page looks like. You've got vintage music paper here, so that just tucks in there. And then I made a couple of specimen tags using ferns out of my garden. This is just acetate that I've stitched round. Whoops, throwing it away now. And then this is some absolutely stunning twine that was gifted to me by the lovely Leanne. And Leanne, I absolutely adore it, you know I do. And I've used it on a couple of specimen tags that I've made recently, and it's just perfect. It looks like moss growing in the wild. It's just lovely, and it's so delicate. Really, as soon as I saw it, I knew it was perfect, and I had to put it on the bottom of my specimen tag. So thank you, Leanne. I really can't thank you enough for that, and all the other lovely goodies you sent me too. So thank you very much. As you can see, there's a little remnant rub in that corner, and this is some more of the gorgeous chiffon sari that I've used for the front, and I've trimmed it at the top there. And then this tiny, I'm not used to having the iPad so low, so I'm all over the place, so sorry about that. As you can see, I've done a tiny little bow here with some doubled over thread, and this is one or two people have asked me what this is or what I use when I tie these little knots or tiny little bows. And I was lucky enough to get hold of some vintage antique linen thread from France a while ago, probably about a year ago, and I love it and I use it all the time. So I've used that to tie my bow. So that tucks in the side there, and then going over the page, I'm just going to, there we go. Here I've put on, I'm not sure if you can pick it up, it's quite a busy background, although it's soft muted greens, but I've used one of the Sizzix flower dies, which I've cut out in cream and glued that onto the edge here, and there's a little strip of washi tape across the bottom, so it looks very, very delicate and tones in quite well with the background, even though you probably can hardly see it. And then this is a flip pocket. Again, I need to get back in frame for you. This is a flip out, but there is a pocket here, and inside the pocket I've layered up a glassine envelope, and inside you can see that there is some text, and also, I'm not going to open it up for you because you can see through it, a couple of language flashcards. So that just sits in this pocket here, like so. Here's a writing space, and I've put a long pocket down the side with a little bit of lace trim here, a tiny little label that says "Smell Me," and a little tiny silver charm through a little eyelet. And the reason is because tucked into that pocket is a smelly card. This is a card that I got from the Bath House here in the UK, and it's a lovely shop that sells really beautiful perfumes and toiletries, and this little stick is what you test your perfumes on to see if you like the smell of it. So what I've done is I've sprayed it with some Velvet Orchid scent, and it smells gorgeous, which makes the journal smell gorgeous as well. So I have done this in previous journals. I did it in my Flora journal, and I just suddenly thought, well, I haven't done that for ages, I'll do it in this one. So I'm pleased I have, because the waft that you get when you open this page is absolutely lovely. So moving on to this page, as you can see, there's some collaging, there's some lace down the side, there's a lace snippet here which has been layered up. There's a little flower on top, again another one of these half pearls, and this is one of these flip up flip out thingy jiggy bobs that I've made before, and you will have seen them in my playlist. There's a little bit of vintage French deed paper up in the top corner there, and that just all folds down. I haven't magnetised it this time because it was staying nicely shut. Sometimes I magnetise these, sometimes I don't. It just depends how the mood takes me when I'm making these. So over the page, more lace down the side. Let's get back in frame for you. More lace down the side here, and a fussy cut image of some sweet peas. Here we have an observer page. I've stitched just round the image on this page, not round the whole page, and then I've just done some collaging with tickets and ledger, a little bit of lace here, a stamped tag with some book page on, and a brad. And then the same thing on the opposite side, or on the reverse really. This time I've used some washi and some tickets, ledger paper. Then there's a glassine or a film page. Here is one of my little snap flowers, so that's just sitting there in the middle of that. This flips open. Just an image here of some I'm not sure what this plant is called, but it has leaves like a bit like a nettle, but these lovely purple flowers. I've done a lace snippet with contemporary and vintage laces and put some tiny beads in a deep green and purple colour to try and match this image here, and they're on a coilless paper clip there. Let's just try and hold that up to the light. Gosh, when I'm looking at my camera here on my computer off to the left hand side to see if I'm in screen, my hands look huge compared to this this little journal. It's not that small, but my hands do look huge. This opens here like a coin envelope. It's trimmed with lace down this side and it opens up like so. It's lined with coffee paper inside, and I've just done a little bit of a collage here. This is some handmade paper that I've stamped on. There's a ticket and some washi. So that's a little journaling spot there. And I've just made the closure using some card, a couple of eyelets, and this is very fine crochet cotton, double thickness, and that just wraps around in the usual style of wage envelopes. Here we have a bottom pocket, and there's some fussy cut butterflies on the pocket. There's a circular circle with an image of a couple of birds in, some more of that little French twine there. I've used one of the tickets, I've stitched round it, put some vintage lace through an eyelet, and I've backed it with coffee stained paper. And then this is just a collage with some vintage lace, book pages, just left it fairly rough and rustic. I was going to stitch this one, but then I decided I liked it just as it was with this lovely vintage lace. Look at that. I only have the tiniest of snippets of this. This bit actually went on the bottom here, so I snipped it off, just trimmed around the edges of this bit, and then put the spare bit over there, and it's just blank on the back. So that tucks into that pocket there. Over here on this side, a little bit of lace detail in the corner there, and this is a pocket here. So this is my tag, lace trap behind the eyelet. This is some white chiffon sari silk, a fussy cut image here of a buttercup, and a little bit of layering and collaging at the bottom, and then some more fussy cutting going up the centre there. And as you can see, this is an old computer card, and this is just book text. So that goes in this pocket here, which flips out, and I can't open it up now. Oh, I should have put a thumb hole in this, shouldn't I, really? Because I can't. There we go. But it's easy enough to put a thumb hole in if you want to. So this is an image of a buttercup as well, so hence the one on the tag up there. It flips out here, and I've just done some collaging inside there. There's a little bit of room to journal, and I've just married it with the opposite side of the pocket. Here we have a bottom tuck spot, and I did a bit of fussy cutting here, and I layered it up with some of that white sari, chiffon sari, and some lace, and then some more vintage lace behind this little tiny image of a butterfly. And then this is the tag that goes in that pocket, and there's a couple of little pieces of lace and a label and a tiny tag that I've put some book page down the side of, and a little fussy cut image of I think it's probably a water lily. It's on a coilless safety pin, and I've just tied some of the pink sari chiffon through that. And then on the back I've used some vintage book page, and this is the first page of a book that I have here that dates back to the 1800s. So that was the first page. So that just tucks in there. This is just botanical book page, just left au naturel, so to speak. And then we come to the centre, and at the bottom here there is a layer of vellum with some lace on the top, so you could actually put your tag or your journaling card behind the lace or behind the vellum, whichever you prefer, on both sides. Here I've just used some of that pink chiffon sari and some French script. Tucked in this pocket there's a picture of a pelargonium, and I chose it to match the pink or the lilac-y colour of these beautiful daisy plants. And just book page, botanical book page, and some ledger French script there. I have tied tiny little green, pale green pearls on the bottom of the threads from the signature. This is the tag that goes into the left hand pocket, collage with some lace, lace at the top, more of that sari silk, and then at the back I've stamped some vellum, and tucked inside there is some more French script. If you can hear that scratching, that's one of my cats desperately trying to get in. He knows that I'm in here and he wants to come in and be with his mum, but unfortunately he can't because he'd be up on the desk, Leo fashion. So I've had to shut the door. And then in this pocket, this is a rhododendron, again same layering, and a different image on the back stamped on the vellum, and then some more of that French script. Over the page here we have a little tiny envelope that I've made, a little tiny stamp with some book page, and then this is a fussy cut image of some leaves from a horse chestnut, and then inside the envelope is some German book pages, or a tiny little piece of a German book page, so that you can either keep that in there, put and replace it with your secret notes, or you can use that for collaging or something, can't you? Whatever you choose. I loved this vintage receipt, absolutely loved it, and loved the orange and the green, which I managed to find an image in the Janet Marsh book. And then this just opens out to show the full extent of the vintage receipt. This actually lifts up, so you could do some secret journaling in here. There's nothing, I didn't collage or anything behind it, so you could actually journal in the back there. But I just love this receipt, so I was delighted to be able to use it and find an image that it would match with, so I was thrilled about that. And that little envelope is just held with another one of the Ranger paper clips with some more vintage lace tied through it. Over the page, some fussy cut image and a little bit of lace at the bottom. Here another fussy cut book page with tiny little butterfly in the corner. This is another one of those tickets. I've used some blue linen, some little bit of lace, and a couple of tags. One I've stamped on, and then this yellow is a little fussy cut image to try and marry in with the yellow here and here. And again, a brad holding it in place. I've collaged on the back and done a little bit of stamping, and then I've created a little pocket with a tag there. So that just pops in there. And then here I've got a little charm, silver charm, again on another Ranger paper clip. Purpley green image there with some lace just tucked down the spine there. Observer book page, just left plain this time. Over the page, a couldn't resist it. I had to go for some more collaging. You know me, I just can't can't behave myself. So there's some stamping here, book page, ledger page, tiny tag, little piece of lace and some seam binding. And here we've just got a little hinged tuck spot, and behind it I've got this journaling card with a stamped image, and it's plain here, so you could actually journal in there if you wanted to. So that just tucks in there behind that. Over the page here I've created a pocket here, but there's nothing in this pocket because as you saw at the start, she's getting quite fat as usual. I did some layering, some fussy cutting, and I created a window here with some vellum, and then this is a little journaling card. I did a fussy cut image of a rose on the top and then just put a sticker on the back, and that just tucks in behind there, and you've got the roses going up and through there. Here we have a flip out, but there's a lace pocket in the bottom and a little bit of layering here with some text and I'm not sure if this is a moth or a butterfly. I'm going to call it a butterfly, but I'm sorry, I don't know. But this is some broderie anglais at the bottom, and I'm just going to pop that back in there like so. This opens out, so you've got a journaling spot there, and then here you have a journaling card, and I've just done a little bit of layering here with some sari silk, some twine, vintage button, some lace, and it's a daffodil again, and some more collaging on the back. And then this is a piece of fern that's trapped in some handmade paper, so that just goes in the pocket at the side there. Like so. Over the page here, just some fussy cutting and some layering of some foxgloves, and same image on this side. And I've just left the threads loose on this page, but they're easy enough to snip off if it's not what you like. I made a ruffle down the side of this page with some of that white sari silk and some lace, and I stitched on some tiny little seed beads all the way down that ruffle. There is a little tiny card here with some layering. As you can see, there's some linen thread here, linen fabric here, and some ledger paper and a fussy cut butterfly, little bit of lace, and it's just on that decollage card. And then behind this frame is stitched in place and glued in place. There's a fabric rose there, and then this is the journaling card. Whoops, losing my secret behind. So this is a stitched card, a little bit of lace, flip it over, and then there's a little side tuck spot here, and I've just put a little couple of cards in like so, but it's a little secret journaling spot or pocket for journaling in the back there. And then this just sits into the frame like so. Which way round was it? It was this way, just at an angle, and just sits in there. And then this one does exactly the same, and they just tuck in behind the lace and just catch the corner into the frame, and they sit there quite happily. This is a fussy cut corner pocket, and I've stitched a glassine envelope. And when you saw me show that lovely rack from Suzanne, she sent me some I think they're called gusseted sandwich bags. Well, I couldn't wait to use them. So this is one of those bags, and I've popped it through my embossing folder so that it's got tiny little dots on to give some texture. And then inside I've made a tag. I mean, you could actually put something in behind here if you wanted to, but I haven't done that. Then the bag is stitched in, and then this is the card or the tag that goes in that pocket, and there's just some sari silk at the top with a couple of little green pearl dangles there, and then I've just done some lace and sari and a couple of vintage buttons, and then a little bit of collaging on the back, if you can call it collaging, because there's only a couple of bits of paper on there, but that's what I've done anyway. So that goes in that pocket like so. Over the page, just a plain page. This is obviously Chinese text. I've put some washi down the side. This is an image and some more Chinese. This is an English piece of English ledger paper. It is from an old ledger, so it's probably vintage. And then I've just used some of the same book page, Chinese book page down the side, use the washi tape again, and then just stitch this image in place. Just a simple page, that one. And these are tuck spots. So we have a corner tuck spot. Here I've used a Janet Marsh image, and I've just fussy cut round the edges to create that tuck spot. And this is one of the Lomo cards that I use quite a lot of. Got these off AliExpress, and I love using them. Very simple and easy journaling cards. So I've stitched and inked round this one, backed it with some vintage French script and a label. So that goes in that pocket. And then similarly here, I fussy cut the image to make this corner, top corner tuck. And then I've used this vintage receipt, and this is the receipt, and as you can see, it's punched. These are tiny little holes. They are absolutely gorgeous. I only have a few of these receipts. It dates back to 1922, but I absolutely love them, and the size is just perfect for these little mini trifolds. So I'm sharing the love and trying to include them in my journals, but every time it's a bit of a challenge, because I think, oh, I love that so much, I want to keep it, but no, I have a few, so I'm sharing them. So that's another one in there. And then this is a double pocket on this side. So we have a pocket here with an image that I've stitched and backed, and then this is coffee stain paper. This flips up, and that flips up as well. I've got it upside down. It does help if you have it the right way up. So it opens like so. Gosh, can't get this right. Let's do this right. So it opens like so. So there's a label up the top there. You can tell it's late at night, can't you? Sorry about this, folks. And there's this lovely piece of printed vellum which flips up, and it gives you a journaling spot. So it looks like that, and that's how it should work. Okay. Oh dear, I need my bed. So that tucks in this pocket here. And then on this side, it looks like a ruff of lace, but actually if you pull it out, it's a tiny little tag, quite a long one. So it's an image onto book page with some lace down the side. It is stitched, and there's a little stamped image there, and it just tucks into the edge of the page to look like a little lace ruffle down there. On this side, I've got a tiny little butterfly. You can see that at the end of my thread. I'm going to lift that up so that you can see it. So a tiny little butterfly. There we go, at the end of my thread. And that just wraps around this vintage button like so. There's some layers of lace and a little tag with the word Seek and a half pearl. This lifts up, and then this lifts down, so you have a journaling spot here, and this will open up, and you have, if I can do it, you have a large journaling spot in there. And as you can see, I've done some collaging here, and there's a little bit of a fussy cut image there. So the top just folds over. We've all seen these, they're nothing new, and that folds up. And on the front here I've created a little pocket, and there's just a couple of little tiny undecorated tags that slot into that pocket. And as you can see, I've trimmed it with lace, so this just folds down, and then my thread just comes up and wraps around the button like so. There we go, and the butterfly just dangles down. Okay, so over the page, we're almost there, guys. We have a snippet here with some little grey tiny pearls, and this is trimmed with layers of lace and a flower, and you probably can't see it, but tucked in the middle is a tiny little half pearl, and then that flips up for a little secret journaling spot. You're not really going to get anything written in there, but it says plants on the back of that little rustic snippet. And then we have some washi tape down here, and then an image with a tiny little butterfly and a tiny little pearl. And then tucked in here is a long tag stitched round, some more of those tiny little green pearl charms that I've made, stitched round here, Tracy Fox label, and then over the page we've got a little bit of collaging. And then this is a pocket as well down here, but there's nothing in that pocket. And then down the side here it's trimmed with lace. On this page I've just left it blank. I've just trimmed the edge with some lace to marry up on this side. There's a little bit of layering here, and then if we go over the page, there's one of these, and again you will have seen these in previous journals because I made a load and I've got to use them up. It is just a little floating pocket. I've decorated it with some vintage lace at the top, some little half seed pearls, these dangles here, and then some more lace and a little pearl there. More lace on the back and a label just there, and then just some prose from an old ledger or an old document that I have, and then that just slots in there. And it's just clipped again with one of the little Ranger paper clips. I just love these Ranger paper clips. I just think that they are just the right size for these little mini journals. If I put in here a normal size paper clip, it just looks wrong, and I can't do it. I just can't do it. I have tried using some of the paper clips where you curl the edges or curl the ends, and I don't know who did that the first time round. I think it's awesome. I love it. But if I use those in these little journals, it just looks wrong. They're too big. So I've collaged the pockets at the bottom here. I'm sorry, not my best collaging, but well, anyway, it's done. As you can see, I've taken the book page right across the back. This isn't the same as this, but it's worked in quite well with the colours. This is the tag that goes in the back pocket, back central pocket, and as you can see it's one of the Observer book pages, and some more chiffon and antique lace on the top, just plain on the back, stitched round, and that just sits in there. And then in this back pocket, another Lomo card, which, just refreshing my screen there, some vintage ledger, a little postcard image there, and then this is a little envelope, and again nothing in it, but I just thought it went with the images that we have and the colours we have going on here. So there we have it, everybody. I hope you like my latest journal. She won't be going in my Etsy shop, I'm afraid. She does have a new home, but if her new owner isn't happy with her and doesn't want her, then I will let you know and she will go in my Etsy shop. So if you just want to keep your eye out for that, just in case. And thank you as always for watching and bearing with me as I go through my journals. And I'm sorry, I should have done it earlier on in the day. I was waiting for the light to be better, in all honesty, because we've had such heavy rain here over the last couple of days. It's been, really has been almost black outside with such heavy rainfall. And it just got later and later, and I thought, well, I'll have to get it done. And now it's pitch black anyway, because it's night time. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody. I forgot to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me and subscribing to my channel, and I hope you can find some inspiration here and enjoy watching my videos. And to all my long-suffering subscribers, you're just awesome. I love you all, and thank you so much. Thank you also to everybody participating in the rack giveaway challenge. The closing date for that is on Wednesday of this week, which is the 1st of July. I will be doing a very quick video tomorrow with all the names of the people that are currently down for taking part in the draw on Wednesday, so that you know that you are definitely in the draw and you can see your name go into the hat or the jar, so to speak, ready for Wednesday. But as I say, there's still time. The closing date is Wednesday, the 1st of July. So if you want to take part, then I'll put the link to the video down below so that you can see what you have to do. We'll take it from there. So I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. So take care. And once again, thank you so much for bearing with me. Take care. Bye-bye now.